Welcome. Let's see. Where's our chat? Our chat isn't happening. Okay. Well, I don't know how to do that. Let's see. I should, right? It should be something. Okay. There's something that says chat. So let me try that. All right. Chat overlay. There it is. I got it. All right. Well, good. Okay. Hey, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today is, we got somebody coming in right away. Catachrome. Today is Thursday, July 27th, 2023. I am your host coming to you from lovely Marion, Michigan. All right. Thursday nights is the night that we set aside for interviews. But there's not going to be an interview tonight because no one was lined up for an interview. That's kind of tragic in a way. There's a lot of people out there that would, but you got to do a little planning ahead and make sure that happens. And so maybe I need to look into that a little closer. All right. So what we've done is we picked a subject that we're just going to talk about as if it were a Tuesday night. And the subject is creating a human-friendly homestead. Human-friendly homestead, because Jill asked me this morning about a kid-friendly homestead. And kids have, certain things that you have to take into consideration. But then old people have certain things that you got to take into consideration, and being 63 years old, I mean, it's, 110 is right around the corner. And so I can kind of see it that, you may need, you want to plan now for that. You want to plan now. You don't want to wait until you're old to start saying, well, gee, I don't know as I can do this anymore. So you got to have a plan. And I thought we could open up a conversation tonight and people could, like we did Tuesday night, that worked out pretty good. I asked for input on this. I asked for questions about the subject that we picked Tuesday night. Let's see, what was that? Doesn't matter. But the subject tonight is a human-friendly homestead. Human-friendly homestead. And when you think about that, there's a lot of subject matter there. So let's do that. And if I can ask you guys to chime in with some questions and some input, that would help me out a great deal. And I have some things that I can think about, but Tuesday night worked out really well. It is hot today. It is hot and it is muggy. I've been in the pool a couple times, which was really nice. I am in the process of cutting hay again. It rained pretty good yesterday, pretty good. And so the hay that I cut down the day before is on the ground. And when it gets rained on the first time, if you haven't turned it, it's okay. Even if it gets rained on twice, it's okay. Right? So it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And this time of the year when I'm cutting hay, I'm watching the weather pretty closely. So tomorrow, well, it's down to 40%. It was at 80%, but it must have changed. And then after that, it's clear sailing for 3, 6, 8 days. There's nothing in the forecast. So that's good. I can get it flipped maybe tomorrow afternoon. If we do get a little rain in the morning, I'll know tomorrow if it's going to rain in the morning or the afternoon. If in the afternoon I can get it flipped, then it'll sit all day Saturday and we're going to have 78 degrees, and maybe Sunday it'll sit. When you are in the 70s, the high 70s, that's good hay weather. If it's too hot, then the hay gets brittle. It dries too fast, and then you actually have to wait until you have a little humidity to bale it, because if it's too brittle, it'll just dust. It turns to dust when you bale it. So when it's in the 70s, that's good hay baling weather, and it looks like we're going to be okay. I did mention to you all that because of the drought, my first 40 bales of hay that I got in the barn, these are big ones, they were pretty dry, and I lost a lot of hay because it just turned to dust. So looks like things are going to work out pretty good. I had repairs to do yesterday. I knew I wasn't going to be cutting any more hay yesterday because they were calling for rain, 100% chance of rain. And the repairs I had to make required that I brought the equipment up to the shop. I had a couple of bolts that had to be taken off by whatever means necessary, which usually means a cutting torch. So that's what I did yesterday. And then today, I wasn't going to flip the hay today because we're expecting rain tomorrow, so it wouldn't be safe. So I decided to work on the milk parlor. And this is what I did. It actually worked out pretty well, and it fits in with what I want to talk about tonight, is a family-friendly operation. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. We started milking cows, years and years ago, like 10 years ago. And we weren't really milking cows. We just had a cow. A friend of mine had a cow, and I wanted to get a cow, and we bought a cow and had some milking equipment that was old and had been in the family for a while. And we figured out how to use it and started milking, and really got used to raw milk, which is really a nice thing to have around. And then we wound up getting a few cows, and we were doing milk shares, and then we stopped doing it for whatever reason. It was during a tough time around the farm. And then we decided we got rid of all the cows, and we were just going to do beef cows. And then we wound up getting one more cow. And so anyway, now we're up to 5 and started the milk share program again. Things have changed on the farm. Things have changed in our country. And so it seemed like a good thing to do. And it's actually taken off. It's actually taken off, and it's kind of profitable. And this farm was designed to be a 10-cow dairy farm. That was the whole idea of this farm. When the man who settled this, his name was Ben Brinks. When he did this, his plan was to milk 10 cows, and that's what he did. So the area that I'm working in right now, there's still remnants of that, and the remnant that I'm working with most is a feed bunk, they would call it. And that was where they would put the feed, and then the cows would come in, and they would be somewhat separated by probably stanchions, although they're not there. I'm just assuming that's what he would use. So I've reassembled it, put stanchions in, and I was working with 30 feet, which would leave me 3 feet per stanchion, center to center. But cows are bigger now. So I went 4 feet, and so I'm going to have about 7 stanchions, but I'm only installing 6. And that's about where I want to be. I want to milk 5 cows. I like milking 5 cows. That's about right. As it stands right now, moving that much milk is, even right now, it's kind of a challenge. We have more milk than we have customers. And there's a learning curve there, trying to help people to understand, the whole milk share program. You can explain it, but people don't quite understand it. Like, we're setting milk aside for you. You said you wanted it. But if something comes up, you're still paying for it. If you can't come get it, you're still paying for it. Otherwise, we just have to dump it. And if If you're not going to come get it, then don't speak for it. So we have to do herd share contracts, and it's okay. It is the way to go, and it's a process of building it. And once you have it built, then our job is just to milk the cows and make sure that it's handled properly and all that stuff. But hurting the customer base can be frustrating at times, really frustrating at times. But I guess you deal with customers no matter what. There's always frustration with customers. So I want to talk a little bit about, oh, by the way, our show tonight is brought to you by Tribe Plus, the Anyone Can Farm Experience Tribe. The Anyone Can Farm Tribe Plus. Okay, so leave experience off. The Anyone Can Farm Tribe Plus. And that is a paywall that we put all kinds of goodies behind. And the classes and the video courses are designed to give you an edge and to help your homesteading game. And it makes a lot of sense to do things right the first time, and not saying that we're showing you the only right way to do things, but we're only showing you things that we do here, and we do them here because they work. You know, the things that we did here that didn't work, we don't do them anymore. So why would I show you guys how to do it? Like, I will show you herd shares because it works and it's profitable. I will show you pastured poultry because it's profitable and it works. It's manageable. You can do it with, let me say, unskilled labor. You can, because a lot of times we're dealing with new people, kids, our own kids. And I think that what we're seeing that a family, right? A lot of that can come from showing your kids what you want them to do, and you're not confident in what you're doing, then maybe they don't have the feeling of confidence either. And then it's just kind of more of the, the instruction that they would get in school, where it's just not fun for a lot of kids. And maybe I'm just padding it a little bit here, but it seems to me when you're able to say, no, this is how you do this, and then a child is able to pursue a task and they know it's how you want it done, then there's comfort there for that child, I think. And they enjoy it much more. And then once they have it mastered, you're able to say, oh, that's good. You did a good job. And then it's something that a kid can be like, I like this. I like doing this. I got an attaboy out of it. Jill made me a cup of coffee. Good stuff. Probably shouldn't be drinking it this late, but I have been working hard today, so I don't think sleep's going to be a problem tonight. All right, so Tribe Plus, I would hope that you would support us with Tribe Plus. We put stuff behind a paywall. It's a mere 14 cents a day, $50 a year, but that helps us defray the costs of getting this out there. And I would say, if you see this vision the way I see it, where there's freedom in food production, in our own self-sustainment, if you see it the way I do it, which I see it very clearly now, if you have extra and you want to support this, by all means do. By all means do. You could pay for someone else to have Tribe Plus. You grandpas and grandmas out there, you should be paying for your kids to do it. Although I'm not sure about that, because when you give kids stuff, sometimes they don't appreciate it. So I don't know. Just going to have to go with your gut on that. All right, we got Catachrome with us. We got Belva's with us. Hello, Belva. We have, okay, here's a question. Is there a best way to keep livestock while keeping people safe and new children to the homestead as well? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and I say that with confidence because I have beef cows here. I have milk cows. I have pasture poultry. I have layers, and we take layers pretty seriously around here. I've put a lot of time and effort into our layers. Laying chickens give you a lot more than you might think, right? We think of laying chickens as actually just eggs, and a lot of people lose interest in laying chickens because they look at the amount of eggs that they're getting, and then they look at the feed bill and they say, you know, I can buy eggs cheaper than this, and then I don't have to haul water in the wintertime. I don't have to feed them or anything like that. But that's an incorrect way to look at it. And I go in depth about chickens, you know, a lot on videos and stuff, and I won't go into it now, but laying chickens need to be taken seriously. They really do. If you don't take them seriously and you have a bunch of laying chickens that are out terrorizing your homestead, you will start hating them. I've been there. You got to have a nice, secure way of keeping them in. I am not a big pastured person when it comes to laying chickens, and that's because I don't. If I'm doing pastured eggs, then all I really get is the eggs, right? But the way I'm doing it now, where I have three secure, well, I only have two, but I will have three secure fields, I get to harvest their manure as well. And they are soil builders for me. I can give them just about anything and they'll reduce it down for me and then add it to the soil. So I get more out of them doing it the way that I do it. I know some people will say, yeah, but if you have a pastured, you know, I think there's truth to that. You'll get a better egg, but we're growing stuff for them and then turning the chickens into it. So what will the quality of my eggs be when I have kale plants that are this high and we turn the chickens into that, and they will eat it all. They will eat every bit of it. So, and another thing too is if we don't do that, then we have to dedicate people to the laying chickens, and we don't have the personnel here to do that, and we don't want to. I don't want to dedicate somebody to the laying chickens. You know, you got to make sure they're all in every day, and if they get outside the net, you've got to collect them up and put them in. And if I find one chicken in the garden eating cherry tomatoes, heads are going, no, I don't want to do that, because then that's another layer of things to do that makes for an unfriendly place for kids. Actually, I don't want to set my kids up for tasks that are like sand going through an hourglass. Like, you can't get a hold of it. You just can't. I want them to be set with tasks that there's a beginning, you do the task properly, and that's it. Chickens are a weird bunch, and you know, they get out. They get out. Their wings sprout back and they fly and they do all kinds of stuff. They can be very destructive on the homestead. And I, for one, do not like finding chicken turds in my toolbox. And they love to jump up in the toolbox and lay an egg, you know, and about 10 turds. I don't like that. So part of the family friendly farm is, I would say, is attention to detail. And, you know, with kids, as with adults sometimes that are new to this, attention to detail can be a challenge, you know, as a parent and as the top person here at this homestead. I say I want something done this way, right? And I try to be diplomatic about it and say it in a way that doesn't seem like overbearing. But if I come back around and it's not done, I'm going to ask it to be done again. But this time, I'm not going to have a big smile on my face, right? And this is how you learn attention to detail. Like if you have this idea in your mind that if the top guy asks you to do something and then it's like, well, I got something else to do, something else came up, he won't notice. Oh, he'll notice. He will notice. And that is really my job to do, is to notice if stuff isn't being accomplished that we need to accomplish, because all the processes on the homestead, an effective homestead, they fit together. Have they always here? No, no, no. It takes time to understand the process and see how it fits in, with another process. And so they dovetail. And that's not something that I was born with. I didn't know this. And that's something that you may not find. I'm not saying you won't find it, but you may not find it in the industrial ag community, because what their thing is they do one thing and they do it on a grand scale, right? So their attention to detail is to the myriad of processes that have to be done to get that one thing that they do done on a big scale. So it's not like they don't have, like they have to juggle fuel, equipment. They deal with government departments that they have to check with before they do certain things. They have inspection services that, the customer that they sell to puts in place that they have to deal with. So they have a lot of things to deal with. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't swap places. No way would I swap places, because their thing is the same thing day after day after day. But like we have livestock processes like pig process and chicken process. How do they fit together? How do they fit together? Well, you got to understand how pigs, the psychology of the pig, and then the psychology of the chicken, what their normal day-to-day behavior is, and what's the common denominator between these two? How can we have these guys on the same farm, and how can they benefit each other, right? And they surely can. And let me explain to you what I mean. We do a lot of pastured poultry. And so we are processing those birds. We have a butcher shop on the place, and we process them. We butcher them. So we wind up with heads, feet, guts, and feathers. And as time goes on, people are more interested in feet and, internal organs like the heart and the gizzard and the liver, right? We eat a lot of that stuff. We had that stuff for lunch, actually. It was pretty good. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people aren't into it. So you wind up with a surplus of that stuff. And what do you do with it? What do you do with it? After it builds up and builds up and builds up and nobody wants it, that's okay, because we have pigs. And the pigs are real happy to get liver and hearts and gizzards. Matter of fact, you don't even have to wash them off real good. They're fine with that. They'll even take the intestines. They love the intestines because the intestines have a little bit of grain in there, and I'm sure they taste pretty good to pig. I was stationed in the Philippines for a long time, and they ate the intestines there. The people ate the intestines. I'm sure I ate the intestines there, and it was in stuff that I wasn't sure what I was eating, because I ate a lot of stuff over there that I wasn't sure of, like balut. I ate balut. Who knows what balut is? Balut, they call it. So, so those things fit together. Likewise, we process a lot of Mangalitsa pigs here. I don't send any pigs off farm to be processed anymore. It's all done here, right? I do not use the USDA plant anymore. And that was a decision I made. And it was a business decision. They did a good job. It was a business decision, right? It's like to bring a pig up there because some customer wants it USDA'd. It takes a day to bring it up there, drop it off, and then come home. And and when process pigs for customers, we do bring it anywhere. My tractor with my trusty 22 go out to the pasture, kabang, bring it back to the shop. We process it, and then our customers are coming to the farm to pick it up. And we are. I want to go into that a little bit. Customers on the farm. I do want to go into that with you. And then we're just saving so much road time and time on the phone with the processor. Oh, can I get in this day? No, I can't get in this day. Oh, a month from now. So now I've quoted the customer X amount for the pig, but that's going to change because I got another month's worth of feed in it and time. And who knows what's going on a month from now? Am I going to be able to get in with the processor a month from now? So having your own butcher shop makes a lot of sense. And it also provides work on the farm. And if we want to talk about a family-friendly farm, and the kids are going to come out and help me doing stuff, I better have meaningful work for them, because raking leaves and cleaning up, that gets old after a while. But meaningful work like processing animals, my kids actually embrace that. And when they're able to say to me, "Hey, what are we doing today?" And I say, "You're butchering a pig." My son Jim now is like, okay, because he's on his own. He's on his own, and he's getting into this attention to detail thing. And when he's done, I walk over and I said, "Man, that looks pretty good." Because the way we do it is we do either a scald and scrape or a burn and scrape. Jim prefers the burn and scrape. I get that. But when he's done, he's got a nice looking product, and he's become very efficient at opening the pig up and get it split in two pieces and getting it moved onto the tables and all that stuff. He's gotten really good at that. And kids, after a while, if they're working on a complex process and dad steps away and is doing something else, they like that. They don't want you around. If I tell the kids, "Hey, me and mom are going to go out to dinner tonight," they're like, "Yeah, don't let the door hit you." Going out the door. They like that. They like to be left alone. When they get a little older. When they're little, maybe not. But my kids, the little kids, caught on to the fact that the bigger kids liked it when mom and dad left. And so they were kind of like, they liked it too. So, and I think that's because of the way we do things. There's always the carrot and the stick, but then there is the, I don't know as we use the stick that much. Sometimes, yeah, I guess I do use the stick once in a while. If something doesn't get done and I've asked for it to get done, it kind of irritates me. Okay. But I think when it comes to your kids on the homestead, I think one of the biggest things that you can do is you can communicate with them. I always found in the Air Force that when I worked for bosses that sat us down in the morning and said, "Okay, this is what we're doing today," then you kind of, okay, I know what I'm doing. And then you just go ahead and do it. You can adjust your time schedule a little bit to to meet certain goals on tasks that you're being asked to do. And it lowered the stress a little bit, because the task you were doing, it's stressful enough, but if it lowers the stress on it, then you can focus more on the task, and attention to detail comes, and you're able to do a good job. Things on this farm have finally come around because of attention to detail, in my opinion, right? If we don't have attention to detail, like in the things that we do, let's say building fences, if we don't do them right and we just kind of hope that it works, you wind up with situations that are not good. Like we had a situation this morning. Yeah. And I build good fences, but there was a certain gate, and this gate is notorious for cows sticking their nose under it to eat grass on the other side. And then when they back away, it catches on them and the gate falls open. It's notorious for that. And for years, I have had a piece of wire hanging on that gate that when I close it, I wrap it with a piece of wire. And I didn't do that. Last night I went in there and I brought some water out to Belle, and it was dark and I was in bare feet, and I had some food waiting for me when I came back in. It was after the call that we had last night. We had a consulting call, which was actually excellent call. If you're a tribe member, twice a month, you will get a code for a Zoom call, and you can come on and we talk face to face. You can ask me any question you want and I can expound on it. You can show me pictures, diagrams, all kinds of stuff, and we can really get some stuff done. You don't have to make the mistakes that I made. And if it's a consulting call and you're asking me about a process, you're paying me to tell you, no, that's dumb. Don't do that. If you just have me over for dinner, I won't do that. You didn't have me over to criticize you, but if you're paying me for consulting, oh yeah, I'll criticize for sure. You can do it with it what you want, but that's what you're paying for, right? So you get consulting with Tribe Plus, and if you are not a Tribe Plus member and you want my ear for an hour, if I come in person, it's $200 an hour, and plus per diem, plus getting me there and getting me home. And that's, to me, that's a deal, because I'm not gonna take time out of my day to consult with. I have work to do, and I'm making some serious gains on my farm. And if somebody wants me to take time away from my farm to travel to their farm to consult with them, it has to be in my best interest, because this farm is what I feed my family with. So if I constantly give my time away, give it away, I'm not taking care of my family the way I should. And sometimes, like when we used to do this show 5 nights a week, I was really scratching my head thinking, why am I doing this? What's in this for me? What's in this for my family? Maybe I should be taking my kids fishing tonight instead of coming and sitting behind this computer. And sometimes I feel like that, even doing it only 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week, right? So, but we're going to continue it because we started it, and a lot of people have joined into the tribe, and so I have to make good on it. And I'm going to see it through. I will. But it would be a whole lot easier pill to swallow if people would respond to my request to help us. You help us by becoming a Tribe Plus member. That's, what do I got to say here? It costs dollars to provide this information to people. And, I don't get paid for this time period that I come on and do this live chat. I don't get paid for Tuesday night. I am getting paid for Wednesday night via Tribe Plus. There's quite a few people paying for it that are not taking advantage of it, which I have to scratch my head on that one too. Okay, but to keep your homestead family friendly, or human friendly, I think sometimes we have to remember that these are humans. Like if you're the top guy or even the middle management person and you see the goals that you want to meet, you got to remember that these are humans that we're working with, and to use them like a tool to just get it done might be a little short-sighted, especially with children, especially. Um, all my kids are different. Some of them just dug right in. Some of them thought, why do I have to do this? My peers don't have to do this stuff. And then they kind of learned a little later on in life that, hey, I wonder where I got this work ethic from, and it is serving them well now. So I can assure you guys that having the kids on the farm and having a well laid out, well thought out program to get them involved is going to serve them later on. So I would say it deserves a good level of your attention and your time. All right, so Crunchy's is with us, and let me see what Crunchy's got to say. Why this stupid thing doesn't stay on? Does anybody know why mouses don't stay on? Probably because it's gonna save the battery or something. Okay, David Duncan's with us. Haven't seen you in a long time. All right, so I don't think I finished Catachrome's question. Yeah, so I keep pigs on the farm. I keep a boar. He's a big boy. He's 400 or 500 pounds, and he's got big tusks on him. And I think we all know people who have been hurt. Joe was hurt by a boar. What's her name? Can't think of her first name. Last name Connolly. She's probably listening and saying, "You don't know my first name." She was hurt. She was cut badly on the back of her leg. Mike Hunter was cut really bad. Almost took his bicep off, and he was reaching through a fence. On the backhand. I have kids on the farm, and I have to keep them safe. And so I observe the behavior of my pigs that are behind the fences that I build. And I build with 39-inch woven wire, and I use a standoff of electric up a foot. And I say this over and over and over and over, but there's still people in my circle, they do it their way. Okay, I can't help you. I can't help you. But I think in every case, there's been incidents where, hey, the pigs are out. Like my pigs never get out. And so if they don't get out, then they don't become a threat to other children that are on the farm. And pigs can be a huge threat to other kids that are on the farm. So, all we can do is say, this is how it's done. This is how we do it. And I'm not going to give you another option because all the other options are not good. Like if you build fence out of just panels or just woven wire, no, you don't have a safe system, in my opinion. I've been doing this a long time because pigs can get out. They dig under, they compromise it, and then after a while, oh, there's some grass out there, and they start reaching, and before you know it, they're out. And when one's out, oh, the rest of them got to get out too. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend just electric, but people do it, And then, oh, imagine that. Hey, the pigs are out. Oh, yeah. I wonder why. So, you create a tough situation for yourself when you don't you don't listen to those who know, and I there's nothing that I can do if you don't listen to what I say. I just, okay, I throw my hands up at that, but what does that do to the morale on the farm. What does that do? That makes the kids feel like there's a tiger in the backyard, and sometimes it gets away. And when that happens, all hell breaks loose, you know. And I don't think that's good. You want to have kind of a settled environment. But the second, or first of all, you want to have great fences, and you want to look after those fences all the time. But you, as the top guy, means you need to be cruising the place, looking to make sure everything's okay. And you got to do it every single day. I do it every day. And you may say, well, I heard the cows got out last night. That's true, they did. That's true, they did, because and it was totally my fault. And someone noticed it this morning. I walked out there. I just walked them right back in. I just got behind them, walked them. They went right back in. So it wasn't a big deal, but it could have been. It could have been. Let's say they made it into the road. That wouldn't be good. And what is that? Anytime you feel something crawling on you, you kind of wonder if it's a tick, but it isn't. But see, that was my thing. It was my fault. And what I do in that case is I very quickly admit responsibility for it and go to my kids and say, yeah, this happened because I blew it last night. I didn't think, there was so much grass in there. I didn't think that they would push on the fence at all. And when they got out, they were so fat. They'd been eating so much that they didn't even go anyplace. All right. So, so safe fences are a really smart thing to do. And fences are a combination of things. You have your posts, you have corner posts, you have the fencing material, and then you always got to have redundancy built into the system on fences. Always, right? So we build a 39-inch woven wire fence, but then there's a electric standoff 1 foot in and 1 foot up off the ground. So that is really the primary. That's the primary. If something happens to that electric fence and it's compromised, I will know just by cruising around, because I will see them up against it. And you know what that looks like after you've been doing a while. You just know, I can look from the house and I see a bunch of rear ends facing me, and that's because they're eating the grass that is in between the electric fence and the woven wire fence. They're going to hit that first, and they're going to chow down on it. And it can get really thick. And that's not always a bad thing, when they do that, but you have a chance to catch that, right? If you just had electric and it was compromised, they'd be through it, and they can do a lot of damage. But if there's a woven wire fence there, they're going to hit that, and they're not going to just plow through it if there's something in front of them. So it gives you a chance to catch the problem. And with pigs, training them behind fences is very important. When they have gotten zapped on the fence can be compromised for quite a while, and they won't know because they're not testing it by touching it. And then your fencer, you learn how to use your equipment. Your fencer, mine anyway, has a light on it. And if it's blinking, that means it's it's a test light. And that means there's a pulse that's going through that entire electric fence, and it's unobstructed. So if I see that light, I know that if I touch that fence, I'm going to get shocked. So we don't have to deal with the frustrations of animals getting out, because when we see that light, we know that fence is good. And you put your fencer in a place where you're going to see it. From my back porch over here, I can look out, and I can see this little red light, boop, 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 and it's a long way away. If I don't see that red light, I'm on my way. I'm going. And usually what I will find is that the pigs have been digging, on their side of the fence, and they've put dirt over it. And the dirt sits there, and then maybe it gets wet and it shorts out, and I got no light. So I fix it. And as soon as I fix it, I look over at the fencer and I got a light, and I know we're good. So a lot of this is proficiency. If you run the place correctly, you will not have these disasters happening like we used to have happen. We used to have things happen that were not good. Tribe Day. We briefed people on we had every we thought, and so we briefed them on, hey, there's a bull out there. If you go out there, really happy camper. So don't. But then we had a group of people that showed up late or later. I mean, there wasn't a time that you had to be here, but they didn't get that briefing. And so there's a group of kids, that said, let's go look around the farm. And they got to a place and there was a gate. They went through it and they left it open. So we're sitting around the campfire, and all of a sudden I hear the cows in the back field. And this is at night. Like, they lay down at night. So what are they doing cruising around? They got out through that gate. And I know they did, because when we made it down into the back pasture, the gate was open. So, and I could see their tracks that came through it. And so we had to get them through the gate. And it was kind of a disaster, because trying to move cows in the dark, and it was extremely foggy. We were very fortunate that we had a group of people to help. Very fortunate. And we're fortunate that the cows went through the opening of the gate, because they don't see good at night. And if they had gone through the fence, then we have a hole in the fence. And this is woven wire, and cows can get tangled in it. And if you have a couple 1,000-pound animal that's tangled in a fence, that's not good. And none of this would have happened. See, it wouldn't have happened if I had done what I'm supposed to do. Before the sun goes down, I have to be thinking, what are the hot spots? When it comes to chickens, the hot spots are they fed and are they watered? And if I had to prioritize those things, water is way more of a priority. So I will do that almost every night. I will check to make sure that they have water. Almost every night. Sometimes I don't, but it's because I look and I see the way that they're acting. And if they're not acting a certain way, I don't know how to describe it. They're when they don't have water, they are searching for it. They're looking, they're looking around. They're unsatisfied. They're hunting. It seems like they have that mode. Then I will get right out there, and sure enough, we'll have a line that has popped off, or something, and their water is dry. So after a while, you get to know that. That's a behavior in pastured poultry. In pigs, usually they have their nose turned directly at the fence, and they are working there. And so all you see is butts. You'll see butts lined up and tails going. Oh, we're real happy with this. This is fun. And so when you see that, you know that you have a problem. Does it happen much? It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It's sort of like a war, kind of. And I know more about raising them than they know about escaping, right? Because I've had lots of pigs come through, and the oldest pig on the farm is probably 2 years old. So he hasn't done it as much as I have. So there you go. But it's not a friendly place if we don't have a system that works. It becomes an unfriendly place and a stressful place. Let's talk about, because I know a lot of you are going the way on, and we get the homestead together. We get good at creating our own food, and then we take on other tasks like cheese making and bumblebee and honey and all this stuff, and we get good at that, and we get to a place a lot of times where there's a surplus, and you start having these visions in your head like, hey, home and work time from the still active here, and it wasn't like anything like what I'm doing now. It was just a couple hours when I got home from work, if I could, like if I got home early enough. We had some chickens, we had a few feeder pigs, and we had a few steers. That was it. I had lots of problems because I never really got down through it because I didn't have the time to work down through it like I do now. I didn't learn how to build fences until I got here. And because I fences there, a guy showed me how to do it there, but I just didn't do it that much. When I got here, the first thing we did is we started building fences. So I got pretty proficient at it. And as you're doing it, you get to see, oh, I see why we do it this way. And then as you operate for a little while, you realize, oh, 5 feet on center doesn't work nearly as good as 6 feet on center. I see why. And everything comes into focus as you're doing it. So I had that feeling too. Like I would like to work here full time. It is doable, but it doesn't just happen because you find a farm and you say, I'm going to quit my job. No, don't do that. If you have a job and you're paying the bills, keep your day job until you know you're proficient enough and you have a system in place that you can convert your surplus into something else. If you need to make a mortgage payment, they're going to want that in dollars. So you need dollars. If you have car payments, that has to be done in dollars. So don't just think it's automatically going to happen because you quit your job and now you have more time. No, you got to be looking down the road. Is what I'm doing going to generate the dollars that I need to do this, this, and this? And I didn't do that. Honestly, I didn't. And we were in a little bit different situation because, we've always just lived close to the ground and we don't have a whole lot of extravagance. That's not where our joy comes from. So we had a little bit of wiggle room to be able to make mistakes. And also I was retired from the Air Force. So I had an income. I had a retirement that made things, ends somewhat meet. Somewhat. There was a lot of months where things did not meet. And very early on, we got into pastured poultry, and that turned dollars. And very early on, I'd say within the first few months of being here, we started processing chickens for other people. And it was totally an accident. Like we were processing our chickens. The veterinarian pulled in. I had heard about the veterinarian, but I had not met her. And she pulled in because we're homeschoolers and she's a big homeschooler, ringleader, and she wanted to meet us. And she saw us butchering chickens. She said, would you like to do the youth shows chickens? And I said, I don't even know what the youth show is. Like, I guess, like how many and what? I don't know anything about this. We were just butchering our own chickens for the first time with a plucker. And the plucker came into my life because an Amish guy said, hey, I got this, but I'm not going to use it anymore. You just need to put a motor on it. And I almost felt pressured to buy it. I almost did, like an Amish guy. Oh, I better listen to what he says. They know everything. So I bought it, put a motor on it. And sure enough, damn thing worked pretty good. We put thousands and thousands and thousands of birds through that until we upgraded to the one we have now. But anyway, that's how we got into processing chickens. And that gave us the wiggle room to continue to make mistakes on other things because we were bringing money in and, making ends meet. Then we processed deer. We did that for a long time. Then we started processing pigs, and on and on it went until we had built up a customer base and a protocol for doing what we're doing that actually works. And then because it was working, people asked us, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And let me get into the next phase of this, making it family friendly, because we have this happen here quite a bit. So you're providing services for other people. Like in our case, we butcher chickens for people, right? They call on the phone and they said, I have some chickens that I'd like to get in. And we say, oh, that's fine. When would you like to get them in? And they say, when's your first opening? And we will look at the calendar and say, that is going to be Friday, the 2nd of January or whatever, July. And how many do you have? They tell us. We tell them how much it is per bird. They want to know, do you do any other services? And we'll say, yeah, we can cut them up for you. We can peel the gizzards if you want. We can do this. We can do that. And we quote them what it costs to do that, right? Everything has a cost. If we're putting our effort into it and our expertise, we have to be compensated. Otherwise, don't do it. You might as well go play golf. You don't get compensated for that unless you're Tiger Woods. So don't do it. And this is the point that I would like to make. There can be an awful lot of stress on the farm when you start doing things for people, because people will say, oh, could you just, and this happened to me just the other day. A woman said, we unloaded her chickens. She had them in boxes. She brings the chickens in boxes, and we have to put them in crates. You can't leave them in a box. They'll suffocate. Plus, they take up too much space, and I don't know. It just seems really weird to put them in boxes. Brand new boxes came from Home Depot, all taped shut and everything. So they're new. Oh, wait a minute. I'm conflating stories. This is a different story. This one wasn't boxes. This was chicken. This was dog crates. She brought them in dog crates. And there was just maybe 10 chickens total in 2 big crates. And so I said, let's just put them in our crates because it's smaller and they stack and, won't take up as much space. So I put them in our crates, and she says to me, can you rinse out my dog cages? And I kind of, okay. And so I went over and I had to put a nozzle on the hose and I had to take it over to a place where I could rinse them out. And I did. I rinsed them out. And I came back and she said, thanks. That was it. And I thought, I don't know, that just added a few steps to what I was doing. And that is not the service that I offer. That is not the service. And it kind of bothered me. And I've been bothered by things like this before. And it usually seems to go like this. We want people we process someone's chickens, and then we say, pickup time tomorrow is between 5 and 8. And people say sometimes, oh, I can't come tomorrow. Can I come Sunday? And in the past, we were kind of like, yeah, all right. And I would walk away from it thinking, well, I'm being a good guy. I'm helping somebody out. What's the big deal? I'll be here anyway, and all this stuff. And what happens then is people, if you'll do it on Sunday, or Saturday, whatever, you'll get a text message. I can't make it today. I'll be there Monday. Can you just throw them in the freezer? And then you're kind of stuck. Like, you can't let them sit that long. And, you don't want to be too confrontational and say, no, you come and get them now. Or, so then you kind of fret about it. And then Monday comes and you kind of wonder, I wonder if they're going to come today even, and then you're not processing birds on Monday, but all of a sudden you have to stop what you're doing to service this customer, right? See where I'm going here? And this went on here for a long time. And it was spread out over a bunch of people. I was as guilty as anybody. If somebody said please, or thank you, or they were, they're decent folks. We don't have any people that come here that are just terrible. We don't let them come back if they are. But it was taking a one-day task of butchering chickens and spreading it out. And there was too much unknown. Like, oh yeah, I'll be there sometime on Monday. Really? Well, what if Monday we have to go to the bank to deposit some checks? We better make sure that we're not gone while you're, dad's cutting hay in the back field and mom has to go to the bank, and you show up that. And now we got to make a phone call to make sure that we don't. Right. So what we did, and this is what I want you to hear me, is when you start a business on your farm, unless it is self-serve, you have to nail people down. You have to nail people down. If people say to me, oh yeah, we'd like to come see a puppy that's for sale, and they say, can we come Saturday? I'll say, what time? What time? I want to sell a puppy. It's a $500 bill. But I don't want this, sometime between 7 in the morning and 11:30 at night. I don't want it. I don't want that. Because then I need to be here. I need to be close. Every time a dog barks, is it those people? I say, what time? And they'll say, I don't know, between 12 and 5. And I'll say, now I'm really busy, so I need a time. And then I can be at the house during that time. And if you're not here during that time, then I won't be here. I have work to do. And then it's like, oh, he's serious. Yeah, I am serious. And I think this is my point, is your homestead needs to be run with attention to detail. It needs to be run as though you're a serious business person. A serious business person says, you drop your chickens off between 5 and 8. And if you are not able to drop them off before 8 o'clock at night, then we don't have a deal. We will not do your chickens. And if they say, yeah, well, I won't be getting out of work, so I can't bring them till 10:30. Oh, no. At 10:30, I'm watching a documentary, and I do not want anybody pulling in my yard with a bunch of chickens that possibly I have to unload. And even if they say, oh, no, I'll unload them. Nope. Because I'm relaxing then. I don't want my dogs going off 10 o'clock at night and waking everybody up. No. 5 and 8. If you can't make it between those times, then we don't have a deal. We don't have an agreement. Don't come. Find somebody else. Find somebody else to do it, or do it yourself. So what I'm saying here is, with your farm operation, if you are not precise with people, you will get walked on. Another one, milk shares is another one. Milk Shares is a good program, really good program. It's not necessary, but it is a good program because you lock people into a contract. People will say to you, "Oh, I want this much milk," and so we milk the cows, and then we set that milk aside for that individual. And then they call you and say, I can't, not this week. And so then I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with this milk? So that's why contracts work really well. And they are made to understand that my end of the deal is to keep the cow, feed the cow, graze the cow, milk the cow, put the milk in a jar and cool it so it's ready for you. Your job, your end of the deal is come get the stuff and pay for it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it because I have other things that I can do that work, that work. So this has to be taken in, and it's really surprising when people know that you're a homestead. They have a tendency to waste your time and resources a lot because, like, I've taken to lately, if someone pulls in the yard and I'm on my way to the shop, I will say, "You all set? You taken care of?" And if they say, "Yeah," I'm gone because I got stuff to do. I don't have time to stop and do an impromptu consulting. Hey, I want to talk to you about fencing. Can you show me how you do? No, I can't. I'm busy right now. You'll have to make an appointment because I just can't do it. And this might sound a little like, well, who's he think he is, But I'll tell you something. The farm, or the human friendly farm, is a place where there is a level of order and free from unnecessary interruptions, right? You cannot have unnecessary interruptions. So you have to think of your time as the person who is in charge of running this place. You have to think of that resource, time, as, gee, you only have so much. And after it clicks by, you don't get it anymore. And I'm bad at this. I'm because if somebody, I had a guy come yesterday, he showed up right when it started raining, so he wound up under the eave, and I was under the eave, just changed my shirt, put my poncho on and my boonie hat on, and I was going to go back out. He was stuck because he couldn't go out. And so we started talking a little bit, just small talk. I wanted to go, but we started talking about government stuff and county government stuff and how to fix things, and wound up in a long conversation. And I was definitely at fault. And I cannot do that anymore. I have to stay focused on what I'm doing, because then the rest of the day I was kind of behind because I did that. And then it seems to like fall on other people when stuff isn't getting done that needs to get done. It might seem like I'm airing some grievances tonight. I'm really, maybe a little bit, but that's not the point. The point is, if I was running a section in the Air Force like this and I didn't stay focused on what my job is, and I let coffee breaks get out of hand and, things like that, my people would know. They would know, and they would feel like they're not in very good hands. So one of the best things that you can do as the leader of the pack there is take it seriously and take what I'm saying seriously. Another thing that you will encounter, that I've encountered, and this, I'm not going to allow this anymore, is someone will call me, and it can even be somebody that I really care a lot about, a good friend, and saying, "Hey, I'm going to be in the neighborhood. You mind if I stop by?" And I'll be like, "Can we take care of this on the phone? I mean, what?" Well, I'm going to be in the neighborhood for a few days. So I just thought you have to be careful with that. You really have to be careful with that. And because you can get yourself extremely frustrated as you're entertaining somebody and you have work to do. You have cows that need to be milked, you have feed that needs to come in, you have things to do, and you wind up visiting. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's not, and I'm bad at that too. I've really screwed the pooch on that a number of times. Another thing it's slipping my mind right now. Okay, let's see what we got for comments here. Oh yeah. Another thing is, and we've had to deal with this. People will call the farm and say, "Is Mark there?" Because our website is definitely out there, and the number for the farm is there. If you want to contact, this is the farm, and they'll call, "Is Mark there?" And my kids, they're kids, so it's hard for them to be a bulletproof secretary, a gatekeeper, and they will just give out my cell phone number. And calm is really important, but I will have people call me and want to ask questions, and I have to be very careful, even if they text me and they have questions. Might be a really easy question, but you give an answer, you're going to get another question and another one and another one. And that's why we had to put in place the consulting service, because if you want to talk to me and I have to take time out from what I'm doing, I know I might seem like I'm a little irritated right now, but it happens way too much. Then you have to schedule a time, and there is a compensation involved, $100 per hour. And I don't do half hours. I do 1 hour. So if you want to talk for a half an hour, you get paid, you get charged an hour. You want to talk 15 minutes, $100. And we had to do that because my phone was ringing off the hook. But when people realized that when they call, I just need to talk to them about something. Well, you can schedule a consulting. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's when you get on the schedule and Mark will sit down and he'll talk to you. And you might be thinking again, like, who does he think he is? But once you get into this and you see the profit involved with homesteading and farming, when you can finally cut through the haze of the spells and incantations that there ain't no money in farming, and learn how to navigate this a little bit, you will not be giving your time away. You won't do it. You can't do it. You have to stay focused on what you're doing. This was a good one. We had a lady that we sold a dog to. And I tell people, if there's a problem with the dog, I need to know, right? And that means like within a couple of weeks, I need to know. Like if the dog has a health issue, we'll swap it out with one that doesn't, something like that. I don't want anybody thinking that we're selling dogs that are not 100%, because we never did and we never would. But I had a lady that 2 years later called me and said, I'm having some behavior issues with my dog. And she runs through it, and I can tell right away she's got a problem, not the dog, right? And so I told her, you need to do this, this, and this. And she calls me again. And did you do this? No. Did you do this? No. Did you do this? No. And then she wants to tell me some more problems with the dog. And finally, it culminated after almost a year and me feeling as though I'm obligated to take this. She says, I just want to turn the dog back over to you so you can assume the responsibility for the dog because it's a behavior issue. She's had the dog for 2 years. 2 years. And I've had probably 15 phone calls from this one. I said, I do not provide that service. However, I'm willing to do it this time But in order to assume the liability of this animal, there will be an upcharge on that. Are you prepared to do that? And she said, how much? And I said, $2,500. Never heard from her again. So if you provide services for people for free, they don't appreciate it. They just don't appreciate it. Like it's got no value. But then when you attach a value to it, then you find out, gee, I guess they, if I would take the dog back for free then and assume the liability of it for free, then yeah, she would do it. But if she has to pay, if she has to put skin in the game, then no, not if I have to pay 14 cents a day. Then I just don't want it, So you might sense a little edge, right? Because I give 100% all the time, and I'm asking for 14 cents a day so I can pay my cameraman and my editor and all that stuff. And it's like pulling teeth. Anywho, let's see what we got here. Let me read this stuff before I get too heated up. Here's a question. Okay. David Duncan's with us. Right on. Catachrome. We find that using high tensile electric with timeless fence posts keeps the kids on one side and cows on the other. Yeah, that is a tried and true method because it shocks from both sides. Right. Brian Jacobs with us. Right on. David Duncan, you should get Joe to make a great informative Tribe Plus ad and just play it before Tuesday and Thursday night video. That would save you time on these days. Well, that's some good advice there, Dave. Kathleen Connolly, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. A lot of lag tonight. I wonder if it's my connection or yours. It's definitely yours. Definitely yours, not mine. You can't pay insurance with chickens. You want to hear a good insurance one, you guys? I've told this before, but I think it bears telling again. Our insurance was canceled. Our homeowners insurance was canceled because we teach farm classes, and it came right out of the mouth of the agent. He said it, and I asked him, can I have that in writing, please? Because I thought I want to take this to my senator because they can't, they can't insurance because you have red hair or because you vote Republican or because you're a, pro choice or whatever. They can't do that. And it's all based on risk. So that would mean that traditional farming is more risky than industrial farming? I don't think so. And that is something to consider when you get into farming and you have kids. What processes are you going to take on? Do you want, if you're not that good at this and you're new, do you want to take on high risk processes? I mean, for a long time, I told you guys, don't keep a bull. Don't keep a bull on your homestead. And now I got a bull. And I've been managing him pretty well, but and things have gone okay. But if he wasn't here, we would not have that risk, right? So as the top guy, if I can eliminate risk, it's probably a good idea. And so we're going to go, I'm trying to find a technician that can help us with artificial insemination. It's been hit and miss for a long time. We had a guy that was helping us, but he turned out not to be so good. And yeah, I got a dog barking out there right now. All right, so that's what I got. 9:22. I've gone an hour and a half. And I don't have any questions. I don't have any comments. I think I got my point across. Chicken processing tomorrow. I appreciate everybody coming by. And we will call it a night. Thank you very much. Remember, anyone can farm. It is time to get after it. I know we don't talk prepping much anymore, but I don't think prepping without homesteading is a smart idea. I really don't. Because you're going to run out of the stuff that you save up. And preppers seem to go a little crazy with guns, it seems to me. And I'm a big gun guy, but I don't think that's going to be your primary. Your primary is going to be staying fed. All right. Anyway, let's go. All right.